Hey everybody, it's Bucky with Top Dollar Home Offer. We have been reading our book on real estate investing and we wanted to continue that here. We talked about previously tenant screening and how to find the right tenants. Another big thing is what do you charge those tenants to actually have tenants coming in the door, and how do you determine the rent you charge in order to not be less than the market but be right on point so you can get maximum dollars out of your property that you put so much hard work into. Our company, we buy houses. We're a home buying company located in Tulsa, Oklahoma. If you own a property in the area and you would like to sell it, we buy houses for cash. We close quickly and never charge any fees. We offer an ARV program that gives homeowners options in order to sell their house for top dollar. If you're in that situation where you're thinking about becoming a landlord or wanting to not be a landlord anymore, or maybe you own a house that you're tired of, or you feel like you're stuck, then call us 918-212-5442. We help homeowners that say, I need to sell my house fast. We buy houses, Tulsa, and we can help you. So let's get back into it. Calculating monthly rent. In order to determine how much rent to charge, there are a number of things to factor into this. First, if you're going to buy a prospective property, you should understand what the supply and demand is in that area. If you own the property, you need to understand what the supply and demand is. There may be other real estate properties similar to yours, but do you know how many there are? Okay. When you buy properties in certain areas of town, the markets hold different rent rates. The types of properties you buy in those areas hold different rent rates. And vacancy rates. You don't want to have the most expensive property in the area if you're wanting to rent this thing fast and keep it rented well. You may have a tough time if you find out there's plenty of vacancies for the taking. Okay, so if you own a house and you drive around the neighborhood and there's for rent signs all over the area, there's an issue. So what can you do to change that? You can't do much. If you're tired of owning that house, you can sell your house to Top Dollar Home Offer. We buy houses. So how do you understand if there's plenty of vacancies? For you, this also means that you may be facing steep competition from others who are trying to do the same thing. When you're trying to come up with a price that can have a negative effect, you have to consult with an experienced real estate professional to assist you with this. You can always call us, hey, what should I rent this house for this neighborhood? We have the data, we have the stats, and we know what rental properties rent for in different markets. So if you have any questions about that, you can call Top Dollar Home Offer. Do you have a property in an area where it's booming, or do you have more people moving out? So what's going on in that area? A town of like Tulsa is large, and different parts of the town are thriving in rent rates, and others aren't. So depending on what will benefit you, you may choose lower rental prices over higher ones, or vice versa. One thing that you will need to do is check out properties and find out what they're renting for. You can pull stuff from the MLS. A lot of realtors are property managers, or some of them are, and you can get information from them about this property and even screen them as a future property management person if you're wanting to turn that over to them. Another thing you can do is if you see some for rent signs, you can pick up the phone and call them to inquire about how much that property is being rented for. There are also tools online that you can get comparable rent prices for similar properties. And yes, if you have a realtor friend or an access that you're going to use, you can use the MLS system to determine what rent rates are in a given area, meaning that you will, and you can find the data. If you don't find the data, you're going to find yourself lost. Once you have come up with the price for rent and put it in place, you'll have to work on maintaining a profit. Meaning initially you may not see much, but as different things happen, such as inflation, and like you'll have more expenses and your taxes will increase. However, you can counter that by raising the rent. After the end of the term and when the tenant's rent increases, you'd be able to take place and start with a new term. What does that mean? Well, let's say you rented a property for $550, right? And you realize that you under rented this property. What's the two things that you can do in this situation? One, you have a tenant that already lives there. You could actually raise the rent. And if you don't raise it more than $35 a month, they typically will stay there. But let's say your property was rented for $550 and you could say, yeah, I could raise it to $585 and get more rent out of it because everything else in the market's renting for $650. So it's up to you. So you have to make that decision. And what you can do is you can divide that extra rent off what you would typically. So if you take $650 and you divide that by 100 by 12, it tells you how much additional rent you could get off that property by the month. And then translate that to if you raised it by $35 and then take an account for vacancy rate. So if this tenant decided to move out, you're going to have to clean that out. So that's one full month rent. So that will allow you to quickly see, hey, could I raise this thing by $35, $45 and keep my tenant? Or if I raise it by $100 a month for the year, then what's the impact and where do I come out cash ahead, right? So just work the numbers. The numbers always tell the story. But keep that in mind. So if you own a property and you want to raise the rent $1,200 a year compared to, say, $600 a year, then you would have a difference there to consider. And if you have the rent rate, it might be a wash. So maybe it is worth raising the rent high enough that that tenant will move out. But maybe you like them and they want to stay there and they take a really good property and you don't know what you're getting into. And so you have that justification. Is it worth raising the rent high enough to match the market or raise it up incrementally over the next 2 years and be just as far ahead and have a great tenant that doesn't have to move and you don't have to clean out and move up, and find new tenants and screen new tenants and go through all that process and lose a month worth of rent. So to turn somebody within a month is difficult. It can be done, but just keep that in mind. So if you want to raise the rents, keep in mind that sometimes there's a trade-off and you can lose a tenant. But always start, if you want to get your foot in the right door and want to get the most rent out of your properties, know what the area is renting for. If you have any other questions, give us a call, Top Dollar Home Offer. We buy houses. And if you own a home and you say, hey, I need to sell my house fast, we are happy to help you. We'll come out and buy your property from you. We can give you a contract that day. Thank you so much and have a great, great, great day.